The heroes make it to Xin Trea. The first Witcher is born, and whose side is Scian really on? Hello, entertainment enthusiasts. This is Ray, and this is the Fandom Realm. And today, I'm reviewing and recapping episode 3 of The Witcher Blood Origin. As always, spoilers are included, so just beware. Episode 3 of The Witcher Blood Origin starts out with our warriors jumping back through the portal and destroying the creature by slicing it in half when the portal closed. They've made it closer to Xin Trea and seem to think others may have come through as Balor's beast is circling in the air. And they come across Meldoff, who brings them into her cave where she feeds them and learns about their exploits, destroying all those armies and arriving at this spot. Sindril suggests they can make their own creature to battle it, with him becoming one and merging the beast's biological essence with his own in order to take out Balor's winged nightmare. The transformation will be long and painful, but before that, they need some herbs. Ayla believes that she's part of the prophecy and needs to be the one to sacrifice herself. Fial tries to convince her not to, telling her to live. However, she holds his hand and shrugs, telling him all her songs have been sung. With the elixir made, Ayla steps up and presents herself as the sacrifice. A final supper of sorts ensues, complete with music, game playing, and lots of drinking. Scian is in no mood to party though, and heads out, knowing that their little stunt on the steps of Xin Trea could be their last. Fial and Ayla end up exchanging a kiss in the middle of this. Now, the thing with Scian here is that she's actually going to figure out that Fial does not actually know a secret way into the city. So she's going to start coming up with ideas to get them in the city as best as possible. When Ayla awakens, she finds herself alone and learns with horror that Fial is the one who has taken the first elixir instead. There's no way to reverse it, and instead, they have to continue the process. Meanwhile, Merwin has her mage find the hidden book, which is underneath the floorboards in Balor's room. He brings it back to Merwin, where he points out that he may be able to open gateways. That is, until Balor shows up and forces him up against the wall with his staff, exerting his powers. Just before tossing him, Arindir manages to talk him out of it by holding his partner at knife point. Eventually, Balor concedes and is imprisoned with Merwin, more determined than ever to open the gateways. However, they can't open it. Avalosh's power isn't strong enough. They need Balor's magic. Elsewhere, Geldof decides to band along with this group and is determined to go out in a blaze of glory and be reunited with her beloved. When all this is said and done, however, Scian is not there. Instead, she's decided to betray them all, heading into the city to see Merwin, claiming to have crucial information about Fial. Scian wants a good deal of money in exchange for handing over Fial and Ayla. Not only that, but she also demands Soul Reaver, her family's sacred sword, as payment as well. And by the way, she just wants 50 Gold Empire soldiers to help her bring them in alive. Merwin agrees, and off they go. Merwin next heads off to see Balor, wanting his help. Apparently this cell suppresses magic, but Merwin decides they should work together and shape the power of Elfkind as a duo. He also wants Fenric, his apprentice, to be with her. Now, one other little thing that's happened in here as well is Merwin has actually also stated that she wants to have a child with Fial, and so that is a little bit disturbing to the folks around her. So, Scian shows up before Fial, where she realizes that he's the one who has used the elixir. None of them bother with questioning where she's been, as it turns out this is a double cross, and she lured all the soldiers in just to kill them. She wanted to kill the soldiers and take their armor for themselves so they could pretend to be soldiers. Through all of this, it turns out Geldof is also an amazing shot with a bow, as well as competent hammer wielder. So off the group go, deciding to use their makeshift Trojan horse plan to get into Xin Trea. As they stand at the gates, Fial struggles to control his powers until Ayla starts humming a tune to him. And as they get ready to head into the gates, we get to hear Meldoff say, "Let's go fuck up an empire." Alright, now that we've finished the recap here, I do want to throw some thoughts and reactions out there. And this whole video is probably going to be rather short because I am just at this point trying to get through the Witcher series. I will be finishing with the finale probably by the end of next week. And so with that, I am going to make them a little bit shorter. Now, just a couple things on this. First off, probably the thing I liked the most was the whole Scian double cross. Problem with that, though, is if you were the Empress, wouldn't you want a little more guarantee that Scian actually is joining your side? That didn't make a ton of sense. I think I would have sent a general or something along with her, someone to make sure she was actually going to do what she was supposed to. But I thought this was a little bit creative. I was not expecting this. When Scian left, I thought she was flat out just betraying the group, and I was a little disappointed. So when it turned out she was actually double-crossing the Golden Empire, I was pretty happy for that. So I enjoyed that part. The rest of this episode was just a mess, though, I thought. The only other positive part for me is Meldoff. I really like her character. She brings a little bit of humor to it. She just brings that spark that you need in a character in a show. Now, big negative for me, we're not really seeing magic. We got to see a portal. We got to see some kind of demon, and that's about it. We got to see them pour some type of potions into Fial's mouth, and this is The Witcher. They're supposed to be magic, and I want to see them doing magic, and that's a big drag on this series, I think, is they haven't really committed to that idea. Also, this stupid cell that is supposed to hold people who have magic. I mean, Baelor has been put in it, but Sindral was one that apparently got out of it somehow. So, I don't know. I think they're making a big deal out of that cell, and does it really work? And of course, we get to see the fact that Avalash doesn't have enough power to open the portal, so they have to go back to Baelor. And of course, at some point, this is going to mean Avalash is going to be dead. He's not going to be really needed anymore. And I actually sort of like seeing that he came to Merwin's aid when she needed it. And so I was really rooting for him. And the fact that he was able to find the book, I like that. But he's going to be gone. And the other thing, and this is the last thing I'll bring up today, is as they have progressed and I've gotten to see more and more of this series, I don't know how much of the effects are practical and how much is on a green screen and how much is done some other way. But none of this world feels lived in to me for the time period that it would be. It all looks very CGI-ish to me, and the effects, I mean, if Netflix is going to pay money and do this, they need to do it right. I don't think it looks near as good as the effects in the regular Witcher series. And even then, sometimes those effects are a little wonky. And so that is something that I'm not real pleased with in this series so far. I will say I'm fine with the pacing. That is probably one of the few positives I have, is they are not waiting around. They are getting the group together, heading towards Xin Trea, and they're going to fight. And it's going to happen in 4 episodes, and thank God it's not trying to happen in 8. That's all I have to say. Now, with that, I hope you have enjoyed this recap and reaction. And before we go, I'm going to give a grade, and I'm giving this episode a D. This just wasn't a good episode to me. Only a couple positives, a lot of negatives, and I just don't see any upward trajectory here. So this episode gets a D. Now, with that being said, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below, and I'll see you next time on the Fandom Realm.